past 30 years, we've had amazing success stories here at Pro Image Sports, but Daisy this year has surpassed them all. She has more stores in the top 10 than ever before. Her average sales volume is higher than we've ever had before with a group of stores, and it's because of the leadership and talent that she has and she brought to the system.
If I had to describe Daisy Rivas, I think it would be determined and laser focused.
I've known Daisy for 20 years and have worked with her in her stores, working from the franchisor's office with her as a franchisee. And she is the hardest working person that I've met.
But it's not that she just works hard, she works really smart.
And I think she may have some advantages being a woman in our sports industry.
I don't know if there's any advantages for being a woman in this industry. We're very much the minority in this industry. But does that deter me from being driven or successful? No. Does it say that I am a woman? Can I not get into this business because it's male dominant? No. I think that if you are an individual that is driven, that is passionate, that wants to do it, absolutely you can do it.
Daisy Rivas has never been afraid of a challenge. In fact, she enjoys it. As a successful businesswoman in Southern California, her modern-day fearlessness was forged through years of hard work. Her determination was born of personal tragedy. She has shown great passion and vision in taking her portfolio of family-owned sports retail stores from good to great.
Daisy's husband, Eddie, built a great business with 7 stores, and they were always great stores in our system. Daisy came in and took them to a new level, which is remarkable.
If I look at my sales increase this year over 2014, I mean, it's over a 22% sales increase at retail. Yeah, that is phenomenal.
Well, she knows the language of retail. She knows product, she knows merchandising.
My passion and my drive is product. I love the product. And also, I mean, I've added some of the fashion elements to it from my previous career. The other area of growth that I've had is women's, in terms of maybe not so much of the different offerings, but just even in the way we merchandise it.
She knows how to be successful because of her hard work.
You have to be in the store. You have to understand your customers. You have to understand the product. The best way to understand that is to be in your stores.
Daisy is a great business person, and what is impressive to me is as much as she wants to be a great business person, she wants to be a better mom, and that's still the most important thing to her.
It's also, I think, been a journey for me being a mother of 3 children. They've always just known mom since they've been born, that I've always been a working mom, because you're truly a multitasker.
I still got to be able to lift this out of the car.
It's juggling, running home and picking up my son and making sure that I'm giving him a home-cooked meal. We sit down for dinner every night. I get to all of his games. He's a sophomore now in high school and playing football and baseball. So I make it a priority, and if I have to take my laptop with me, I'm there. Where I am today, because of where the business is today, obviously is a tribute to what my husband and I had started together. We started talking about combining both of our experiences and really trying to go into a business that we could basically do together. He had sales experience and management, and I had retail experience. And we figured, okay, what can we do together? So we started to go to conventions where they highlight business entrepreneurship. We went to one at the LA Convention Center.
But these shows were all about kiosks and put your face on a mug, and so it wasn't working. But I remember that on the way out they gave me an entrepreneur magazine, and
in the magazine there was an ad for Pro Image Sports, and at that point Eddie was sold. He loved sports and it was a business, and we figured, okay, we'll do it together. We started the process, flew to Utah, met with the powers that be.
During our first meeting with them, they made it clear that this was something that they wanted to do together. But kind of as time went on, Eddie kind of took over more of the leadership role. Daisy went in the background a little bit. She went to do other things.
Legally, the company, an entity of the company was set up with both of us being business partners. But as the next 19 years would progress, it was me being a silent partner.
In the mid-90s, Daisy and Eddie opened their first Pro Image Sports in Arcadia, California. Over the next 19 years, Eddie would add 6 additional locations all over Southern California. Life wasn't without its challenges, but continued to sell along as planned, until one day it didn't. Eddie was diagnosed with a terminal form of multiple myeloma, a cancer of the plasma cells.
Eddie was an extremely strong and determined, and it was something that he was very private about. I mean, there was truly just a handful of people that knew of his illness within the workplace. It took some time for us as a family to come to terms with the diagnosis.
It was a very hard thing for them and for me, not knowing what the future would hold.
It was about a little less than a year before he'd even told his family. It was some time before we, told any of our closest friends.
I had just lost my father to cancer, and Eddie and Daisy had actually had conversations with me about that before I knew that Eddie had cancer. So over time, of course, Eddie and Daisy are partners, but they became friends.
The relationship turned from work relationship to a family friendship.
And he passed away in April of 2015. And during which time we had signed a lease agreement with the mall that we had been in the longest.
The plan for Arcadia was to move from the old location to a new, bigger location in the mall, on the other end of the mall, and build a brand new store.
It was laying him to rest and then receiving a phone call literally the next day, and the mall informing me that they had already planned for a tenant to come in behind us, and we had to vacate.
She ended up having to move her store, that they had their flagship store for 19 years, in a matter of 6 weeks.
The opening of this location here has now been, I think, the start of a new chapter.
Daisy recognized everything that he's done well, and that was a great foundation in place for her, but quickly realized that some of her strengths could add to what he had already done.
But it's not to say that in any way that I've forgotten what got us here.
Of course, she was overwhelmed, and what was in front of her seemed like an impossibility, but she was going to go after it, and she was going to get it done.
At that time, when I asked him, do you want the business to continue, and he said yes, then that was what I took as my mission. It was his passion. And to keep his passion alive, I knew nothing else but to do that.
In 2017, Daisy has taken her system and her stores to a level that we've never seen before. She has more stores in the top 10 that's ever happened before. And the person that's really ever come close was Eddie.
He would always tell me in the most beautiful of cards, we were a power couple.
But Daisy and Eddie didn't build a successful sports business on their own. The two of them, over the last 2 decades, have created jobs for countless employees. And they've worked to develop those employees into leaders in the sports retail industry.
Are we going to be able to sell it? Cameron?
In key team, like a Raider, maybe a Packer, yeah, key team.
I definitely am grateful and appreciative for the team that we have employed here, and we've had employees that have been here when they started right out of high school as associates, and they've now grown to be store managers.
This is the only job I've really had.
Started off at Pro Image back in 1996. Fresh out of high school.
I started as a sales associate in Glendale and got promoted about a year into my tenure.
What I've done with them is to try and help continue to develop them and empower them to be their owners of that store.
I've been working with Daisy for a little over 2 years, close now. It's It's extremely satisfying. I mean, I've learned so much from her.
She, gives you free reign to run your store, and it holds you accountable.
We think for ourselves. That's probably the biggest part I could say about working here.
It's on you to know what's going on in your store.
She's very open, very helpful. She has a lot of business experience.
She's the world's greatest boss.
With patience and hard work, you can get a lot done, definitely. And you could always learn new things every day.
Even in my role today, and when I sit down with my store managers and we go over performance evaluations, I'm still learning, and I tell them that. I'm still learning on how I can be a better manager or a stronger communicator or a more effective leader.
She's obviously very talented. She's organized. She's thoughtful. She is driven. She's determined. She's all those things, but she's a better person.
Eddie had an opportunity to sit down with Ryan and do an interview, which reminded me at the time when I heard it a couple years ago that part of our initial business plan that we had submitted for our loan, for SBA loan, was to get to 10 stores.
My business plan was always to have 10 stores. I mean, that's how my business plan was presented to the SBA to get our first loan.
Yeah.
If I could hit 10, I think for me that would be ideal, just because I feel at that point that I would have fulfilled that vision that my husband had initially. But if it's not, then you know what? I will gladly take the 22% sales increase that I'm currently experiencing over the past 2 years.
I learned a long time ago to get out of Daisy's way. She's a great example to all of us of how to do retail in an ever-changing retail environment.
And I've learned as much from her on the personal side of things as I have business, and I'm looking forward to the next couple decades working with her.
I don't think there's a few days go by that we don't discuss her business, and just to put all the franchisees on notice that Daisy is that unstoppable force and is going to continue to be successful.
I'm in a mindset right now that I guess I am woman, hear me roar. I'm trying to take it and tackle it all on my own. You know, Jay, you didn't offer me my hat spray.
I'm sorry, do you want hat spray?
No, thank you.
I apologize. I'll pay for the hat spray myself. I'll pay for the hat spray.
You know, that's going to have to be a write-up.
I know.